You watched the Laker game last night?
A little bit, yeah.
Dude, LeBron just looked like he was 5 years younger after those days off. Like, there's no way he didn't go somewhere and take some kind of injection or something. But we're on to Monday. We have a 6 game slate. A lot of these teams have been rested, so hopefully they're good to go. We have a couple pieces on the injury report. Jayhawk, how we doing?
Doing good, man. Nice to be back here on Little Monday NBA DFS slate. Got a 2-gamer tonight for NFL, so lots of sports to watch. But once again, excited to break this down with you.
Yeah, I hope you guys have some fun second round best ball teams to sweat tonight. I know I do. I'm sweating for no fantasy points to be scored in either game, so we'll see how that goes. Jayhawk, you mentioned before the stream you thought the starting point today was Chicago Toronto. So let's go ahead and go there. Let's start with Chicago. Zach LaVine's questionable. Yeah, what are we doing with the rest of the team here?
Yeah, so Chicago, obviously in a great spot here against Toronto. Me and Chuck both mentioned we like Kobe White here, would prefer him if Zach LaVine were to sit here. But let's start out with him. I think he's an awesome tournament play here at his price. So love Kobe White. And then I do like getting to Josh Giddey as well. He's been pretty good recently, so like him in the mid tier. And then if Levine plays himself, I think he's also in play. High 7Ks. He's always in play. So that's kind of my stance. I'm getting to a little bit of Vooch, but mostly the 3 mid tier guys there with Chicago.
Yeah, let me just pull up what I have here. So Vooch missed the last game with an illness. So if he's in tonight, he should be good to go. He does look good as a pivot off the super chalky Pirtle. On the other side, he's a little more expensive, but he's coming in with much less ownership. Even better if Zach LaVine's out. He does lead this team in usage. So if he misses, the biggest direct beneficiary is it's Kobe White, followed by Josh Giddey. I lean towards Kobe White. Like Jayhawk mentioned, the model has him about the same. My problem with Giddey is just even when Zach LaVine gets ruled out, if he does, the minutes on Giddey shouldn't jump too much. Maybe Kobe White will get a few more minutes, but it's really just the minutes with Giddey. So are you still going to mix in some Josh Giddey?
Yeah, definitely. Just because I think Kobe White probably has the way higher ceiling. Giddey's probably the safer floor play there, if Levine sets, in my opinion.
Yeah, they both get about a 3% bump in usage with just Zach LaVine off the court. Kobe White gets up to 27%, Josh Giddey up to 25%. But Kobe White's played a lot more minutes with Zach LaVine not playing. And then Ayo Dosunmu, 19% usage. It's not great, but I mean, we're kind of depending on Ayo to get some steals and just get hot from 3 to kind of get there, right? So at the 6,100 price, he's probably a decent GPP play if Zach LaVine's ruled out.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Love Ayo in tournaments always.
Especially, let's just see what his ownership comes in at if we get that update. And if it's much lower than the other guys, I think we want to mix him in a little bit more, even though the price is pretty similar.
Yep, right there with you.
Is there anything else from these secondary guys? Like if Zach LaVine's ruled out, maybe we can take a look at Modest Buzelis, who I want to say he got there on stocks the other day, but he's been looking okay. And Jalen Smith, if Vooch is back, his price is just a little bit higher than it's supposed to be as a backup.
Yeah, I think Buzelis is fine. I just want to mention, I think Patrick Williams was limited last game. Would kind of depend on if he's playing more minutes or not for me to get to Buzelis, I think.
I like that, yeah, and especially they're so similar in price. Patrick Williams only projected for 19 minutes, so if Zach LaVine's ruled out, we'll see how that projection adjusts, but if he's on a minutes limit, we're not really going to be able to guess what it is unless the coach says. But he's another guy that we would want to have some exposure to if we're making a large set of lineups. Let's hit on some of these comments. Boys. What's up, Heath? Good to see you. Big money. A. Thompson, 3,900. Yeah, we'll get to him. With Harris out, yeah, Detroit's going to be another spot too. Let's jump to the other side of this game, Toronto. So they're still going to be without Scotty Barnes. Emmanuel Quickly's been out. RJ Barrett's kind of been running the point, and he's been awesome. I think we both really like him tonight, projected for a ton of ownership. Him, Pirtle, and Mogbo, chalk, and then Grady Dick over on FanDuel. So what are we doing with Toronto?
Yep, you covered. I think RJ Barrett, one of the top plays on the slate here. Kind of crazy to be playing RJ at 9K, but with him running the point in with Scotty out, I think he looks awesome here. And then shout out to Jacob Pirtle a couple of sets ago. Got ruled out, came back in and played. So I think he's in a phenomenal spot as well. One of the best center plays. So love Pirtle. And then Mogul, I think, should start here once again. Like him as well for value. So you nailed it. Those are my 3 favorite plays here.
So Pirtle is my highest exposed center as of right now, but there are some pivots that we'll talk about when we get to those teams. Mogbo, assuming he's starting, I mean, he just fits in so easily, particularly over on FanDuel. 4,800 to 4,400 on DraftKings is really good too. Grady Dick, 5,200 chalk on FanDuel, 5,900, only 16% on DraftKings. Do you think he's worth getting over the field over there?
Yeah, I don't hate mixing him in. I do prefer Ubre. We'll get to him, but I think Grady totally fine there, 5,900.
And then I want to mention Davion Mitchell is probably the only other guy I'm really interested in from this team. Like Ochai, I'm going to get some exposure to because he's 4,500 on FanDuel. I'm not excited about it. Going to probably try to not do that if I can, but I know I'm going to get a few percent. But Davion Mitchell at 4,300 and 4,100, very low ownership. He's a terrible fantasy producer, but I still think we can play a little bit more than a 3 and 5%.
Yeah, don't hate that at all. Especially in Showdown, I definitely would want to be over that for sure.
I like that. And Jacoby Walter, I mean, he's pulling a little bit more ownership, but hold on, I had the usage here. With Quickly and Scotty Barnes off the court, RJ Barrett gets the biggest bump, but it's not too much. His usage is 32%, which is better than elite. Davion Mitchell is 15. Like I said, terrible producer. Ochai Agbaji, 14% usage. Jakob Pertl, 21, slightly above league average. Grady Dick, 25, which is pretty good. And then where's Jacoby Walter at 18%? So a little bit better than Davion. But with Davion, if I play him, I'm kind of just hoping he gets like 3 stocks and hits a couple threes, right?
Yep, that's pretty much what I would want to.
I mean, Kelly Olynyk, he's down to 4,400 on FanDuel with power forward eligibility. We haven't projected for 15 minutes. I don't mind getting a few percentage of him either.
Yeah. Do we have do we know what minutes he's gonna play? Like we have him for what? Like 15 or
Yeah, we have him for 15, and I don't know if he has a potential to get up to 20 yet, especially with Pirtle in. So 15 might even be kind of a high estimate. He hasn't been great, but we know he can get there. So on DraftKings at 5K, pretty close to unplayable being center only. But on FanDuel, did I even get any in my set? No, I didn't even get any, but if I did, I don't think I would hate it. Maybe he's like a better Kevin Love.
yeah, he's a great producer. Just the minutes for me.
All right. So now that we covered probably the most important game on the slate, let's start from the beginning. We'll go to Detroit. I saw a question about that in the chat. So Tobias Harris is out. Sar Thompson's very cheap on both sites, not pulling any ownership. What do you want to do with Detroit today?
Yeah, so Detroit, I think starts with Malik Beasley for me. Sorry about that. 23% owned. I think he looks awesome for value. And then I think both Cade and Dern fine to mix in. Dern at 10% is intriguing. It comes down to the minutes for me. And then I think Cade, I think I do prefer Harden up top, but Cade another guy I think we can mix in GPPs at that ownership. So love Cade in tournaments, love Beasley for value, I think. What do you think about these guys?
Yeah, I'm always going to be a fan of Cade. Miami's tough because I don't even know if they're the defensive team we think they are, but they do play slow. So it's just less possessions to score fantasy points. Jalen Duren, 55, 5,600. I mean, I kind of look at him like Jonas. Like if he's starting, but he's not playing that many minutes, kind of splitting with Isaiah Stewart. So he's just a top GPP play. I'd rather pay a little bit more, get to the other guys who have more secure minutes. I did see a question about Malik Beasley, though. Is he core on DraftKings at 4,600?
I don't know if I would take 4, but I think he's one of the best value plays on the slate, in my opinion.
Yeah, I actually got to more of a Simone Fontecchio over on DraftKings, actually, at 3,200. We haven't projected for 20 minutes. What do you think about that?
Yeah, actually, that's funny you mentioned that. I kind of wanted to talk to you about him. I thought he would be, when I looked at the slate last night, I thought he would be pretty chalky here. If he starts, I do like him a lot in tournaments. 3,200 is a pretty good producer. So, yeah, I like mixing him in a lot for sure.
Hey, it seems pretty good, right? I mean, this isn't great, and hopefully these minutes we'll see a slight bump with Tobias out. But, I mean, if he gets over this 20 minutes, 6% ownership, kind of like it. 3,700 on FanDuel still seems okay at 2%. I'll have a more than 2%.
Yeah, especially if he starts, man. Really like him there in tournaments.
Yeah, because I saw a question about Asar. I mean, what do you think about him?
So Azar for me, kind of all year, it's just been tough to kind of navigate his minutes coming back from an injury, I believe. So I don't know, man. I think I'd rather just pay down for Fontenecchio, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think Fontecchio just has the potential to play more minutes tonight. And I mean, if it's something like Asar gets 14 and Fontecchio gets 24, I'm just going to take Fontecchio, even though Asar is probably the better fantasy producer. You know, Fontecchio, we're kind of counting on him to get hot from three, whereas Asar, like his brother, just does a little bit of everything.
Yeah, right there with you.
Did you see that the Pistons waived Paul Reed and then they just re-signed him like right before the stream started?
I just saw they waived them though. That's
Yeah,
a
they waived him a couple days ago, so it's got to be like something with a contract. I thought it was weird they cut him in the first place. I didn't think he was terrible, but I mean, we're not really expecting him to play any minutes, so it doesn't affect what we're doing. I just thought that was interesting.
how could you cut B-ball Paul, man?
How could you cut Paul? Like he is the b-ball. Jaden Ivey is a guy I thought I was excited about playing this season, but I'm just not. And Model is telling us that we really don't have to tonight. Even 15% on FanDuel at 6K is fine to take shots on, but the Model is going to give us some better plays than that.
Yeah, I wasn't getting much.
Ron Holland had a really good game last time out. Best game of his career. Let me see. Played a ton of minutes. 21. It's a ton of minutes for him. 11 to 14, though. That's not going to happen again. 3,400. Is this worth even 1%?
I don't know, man. It's so tough to navigate his minutes.
I think with Tobias out, he's worth 1%. I don't know if he's worth more than like 5%, though. But yeah, I think we can consider him tonight, but don't expect him to shoot 11 to 14 again. And then Tim Hardaway, I've mentioned as a guy I'm never clicking on to put in a lineup myself, but if he shows up from the builder, I'm okay with it. At 9 and 4%, he helps make lineups work. Would you mind getting a few percent of him?
No, I was actually it's funny you mentioned that. I have not played that dude all year. I'm probably not going to play him again.
Let me see. I'm getting 8% on DraftKings, and I'm just going to leave it. Like, I don't know. He does it. Like, he gets there sometimes, and his price is cheap. So that's telling me what it wants to do. Apologize for my voice, guys. I guess I'm feeling not great. Did you say you think Fontecchio might get the start for Tobias?
I thought so when I looked at when Tobias was ruled out, but we'll just have to see.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that I have a lean there. I would want to start Fontecchio, but I'm not their dumb coach. Let's go to the other side of this game, Miami. It's been such an interesting team because Tyler Herro is usually the guy I want to get to, but then when I run lineups, I just don't get to him as much as I want to. But I think all these ownerships are pretty okay. Drew Smith randomly saw a ton of minutes last game. Where's your starting point on the Heat?
Yeah, so we'll start out with Drew Smith. I wanted to hear your take because I haven't really loved this guy for value like the past couple of slates. I think he's fine. Like he's probably going to project as one of the best values at his price, but I don't love it. I think he's probably the safest guy here overall for Miami, but I don't know, man. I don't love it. And then in terms of the studs, Bam, Jimmy, and Hero, I think I do prefer Hero or Bam the most, but I think all three of those guys are in play.
Yeah, the three studs, I mean, to me, they're kind of just mix-ins. I'm not getting like a large percentage of anyone here except for Drew Smith. With Drew Smith, I pointed out last time, the model did not think he was bad chalk, whereas some of the other bad chalk we've had recently, the model told us before the slate, like Cole Anthony, the model... Actually, that might be a bad example, the model like Cole Anthony, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And today, model has Drew Smith as a good value, best points per dollar play on the Heat. For the minutes he's been playing recently, his price probably should come up at least a few hundred more. We haven't projected for 27. As we see here, he's played 34, 26, 29. So 27 is a pretty solid projection. I'd even be comfortable giving him another minute or two because like Spoelstra is kind of weird with the rotation. So seeing this just randomly in the last game I think that's pretty significant. That tells us that Spoelstra really likes Drew Smith.
Yeah, I think he's definitely one of the most solid value plays in the slate for sure.
I wanted to see how much I'm getting over on FanDuel. I know I'm getting a bunch on DraftKings. Yeah, on FanDuel I'm getting even more. It's so easy to fit him in, especially at the shooting guard position. I do want to mention Duncan Robinson and Terry Rozier. Like Jaime Jaquez, it's just the minutes are not there. So even at his... Are you considering Jaime Jaquez tonight, actually?
I wasn't really... I did prefer Duncan Robinson or Rozier, I think, if you can get up to him.
I bumped up Jaime Jaquez, and I still got 0 on both sites. So it's going to be tough. I did get a few percent of Terry Rozier and a few more of Duncan Robinson, which, like you mentioned, I'm more interested in Duncan Robinson. So is the model. And so Yeah, 4,100 for him is a pretty good price on DraftKings, and 4,600 on FanDuel seems pretty good too.
Yeah, I agree there.
Let's go to the next game, Philadelphia, Charlotte. We'll start with Philadelphia. The first question in the chat today: who's a better play today, Jayhawk? Tyrese Maxey or James Harden?
Ooh, I'm kind of leaning Paul George out of the studs for that game, so I'm going to go with James Harden in that.
Okay. Let's look at Philadelphia, sort by OF index. Tyrese Maxey, 11.4. Paul George, significantly below him, only projected for 3 less minutes. So the model is telling us Tyrese Maxey is the top play from this team. It's not close. Just find the extra few hundred to pay up for him, especially on FanDuel, where he's only $100 more than Paul George. I know I'll have lineups with Paul George and not Tyrese Maxey, and I'll have lineups with both, but I think Tyrese Maxey is a priority here. After those two guys, I mean, Drummond or Yabusele, they're kind of tough to play, right?
Yeah, I kind of do like Drummond tonight. It's kind of just a hunch. It's only if he starts though at 5,500. If he doesn't start, I probably won't like him nearly as much.
Yeah, even on DraftKings, I'm getting 4% of both of those centers. Getting a decent amount of Tyrese Maxey though, and even more over on FanDuel. I still need to bump Paul George up. I'm not getting enough. This is still a good matchup for him. And with Charlotte kind of getting their centers back, like Mark Williams is good at basketball, right? He's been playing pretty great, but can we target centers against Charlotte again?
Yeah, I think so. I still think it's better spot here for Charlotte overall, but I don't know, man. I still like the bigs against them.
Yeah, and so I'm just going to leave the percentages that I have of Yabusele and Drummond, but then the guy who I think might deserve this ownership, Kelly Oubre, 31% over on FanDuel at 5,700, 14% at 5,800 on DraftKings. I think he's been playing great. Minutes are going to be there. How much Kelly Oubre do you want to get to today?
So I like him a lot at 5,800. Just looking at the ownership differences, the thing I liked is he's almost 40% on FanDuel, only 15% projected on DraftKings. I think especially with McCain out here, he should pick up the scoring here as well. So I like him a lot in tournaments. Definitely not a cash game play, but like him a lot here in GPPs.
Yeah, and on that cash game comment, if he was like a few hundred less, like say he was 5,500, I would consider him a cash game play. So he's just right there.
Yeah.
With McCain and Joel Embiid off the court, Gershon Yabusele actually gets the highest increase in usage, but that's kind of weird with Drummond. So I don't know that I'm going to buy into that too much. It's still league average, so not great. Tyrese Maxey's at 31%, better than elite. Kelly Oubre, 21%, just slightly better than league average, but we'll see if he can get that up today. And Paul George, 27% usage without Jared McCain and Joel Embiid on the court, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Another guy I just want to mention, KJ Martin. Any interest here?
Man, I would like to. It's so tough to navigate his minutes. So I think he's fine as like a 1% play, but I think I'd rather just get the other value today.
Yeah, not a guy I'm going to target. But again, if he shows up in a couple percent, I'm okay with it.
We did just get news Zach LaVine is out. So
let's go, fellas. We're going down with the chalk tonight, man.
What could go wrong?
So we'll wait a few minutes for the model to update on that. I don't think I'm going to be able to rebuild on stream, but we can try and see what to do with Chicago. Let's go to the other side of this game, though. Charlotte, LaMelo is questionable. If he does play, he's on a minutes limit. Just kind of kills the value of everybody here. I have slight interest in Miles Bridges at 6,100 on DraftKings. I think that Mark Williams and Nick Richards are both okay to take GPP shots on, despite being projected for low minutes. Other than that, I don't think I have any interest in this team.
Yep, right there with you.
Nice.
I don't like. I would love to play LaMelo here, but we were talking pre-stream. The minutes limit, I can't play him yet. So another.
I mean, Brandon Miller is 7,900 on FanDuel. The model thinks he's okay at 4% ownership. Like, this is probably. Would you say it's a few hundred more than his appropriate price with LaMelo in?
Definitely, I would much prefer him. Like, I don't know, maybe sub 8K or 7.5K, but definitely not 9K.
I am getting him over on FanDuel, though. I have 14% right now. He's projected for 4% ownership. I'm pretty good with that, actually. That sounds good. I'm only getting 1% of Miles Bridges on FanDuel, though, and then 5% Miles Bridges on DraftKings. So, yeah, not a lot to be interested in from this team. I'd be okay just full fading it.
No, I agree with that for sure.
See if we have any questions here. Toy. Is a Philly power forward a play, or is Drummond a play? For a single entry, I probably wouldn't touch Yabusele or Drummond.
Yeah, it's tough with those two.
Is it Joker or bust by fading him? We'll see. How
Hopefully,
long until? Go
hopefully
ahead.
30 fantasy points, dude. My lord, that was awful last game.
Yeah, that was cool, especially with all the stuff we were trying to get cute with building for Jamal being out, and then Jamal plays, and not a single player on that team got there. How long until the Lakers trade for Jovel? Dude, I thought it was supposed to be yesterday, so now I have no idea. I would have told you yesterday, though, if you asked me last week. Isaiah Stewart, Jayhawk, did you have any interest there? We'll just jump back to Detroit real quick. I don't.
I don't think so.
He's just such a poor fantasy producer, and his usage was super low. And we knew that the game that he started a couple games ago when he was mega chalk, we're really just counting on him to get a bunch of rebounds, a couple putbacks, and hopefully a couple stocks. And it's so funny because I'm watching the play-by-play, and all of a sudden it says Isaiah Stewart checked out. And I'm like, that guy was on the court for the last 6 minutes. He didn't get a single stat. So it's tough, but his price, I feel like we could just get to the other guys, like take shots on Fontecchio.
Yeah, I agree. I'd rather get to the other value there.
Okay, so LaMelo Ball's officially in. Yeah, what we said about Charlotte holds. You don't really need value if you just balance build. Oh, sometimes you need value. Ricky? Is that Ricky Council? Oh, man. Were you thinking about Ricky Council at all tonight? Go back to Chicago or Philadelphia real quick.
No, I didn't even have him in the player pool.
Ricky Council, 4,200, 4K. He's a good producer. I mean, is he going to pick up a bunch of McCain's minutes? Ricky McCain. Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Ricky McCain.
If he was a little cheaper.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's a good producer. 32 fantasy points, 29 fantasy points, 31 fantasy points. Like, this is fine, I think, as a GPP, like as a pivot, I guess, if you want to get off other value chalk. 1% owned. Yeah, he's got to be worth 1%. Let me see what he was on this list here. With Jared McCain and Joel Embiid off the court, Ricky Council's only played 50 minutes, and he has a 16% usage, so there's not really anything to get from that. Yeah, I actually like that call, Smitty. Nice, dude. Patrick Williams will probably start, but his minutes will be capped. Yeah, he's going to be a tough one. If he starts, though, he's cheap. We can mix him in. Warriors getting Schroeder makes no sense. I guess we'll have to see. One of my friends texted me like, dude, we could have got Schroeder for free. And it's like, we already had him. We let him go, and I'm pretty sure he hates us. So, no, we couldn't have gotten Schroeder. He does not want to be in LA. LaMelo's on a minutes limit, yeah. With Levine out, Dosunmu looks good. Yeah, we'll wait another few minutes to refresh the model. But let's talk about Cleveland. Cleveland versus Brooklyn. Brooklyn, no Schroeder. So this game is much closer than I would expect. It's only 9.5. These guys are projected for pretty low ownership. I think we can get over the field on a couple of these guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't hate these guys in tournaments. I think where I was leaning was probably the bigs here, Mobley and Allen the most. But yeah, I think all these guys probably can take a lean on here. Do you have any favorites here?
Mobley is usually my favorite guy to get to here. I will point out the model has Donovan Mitchell just ahead of Mobley today. Sometimes it's the other way around. Donovan Mitchell's a little bit more expensive, but Mobley looks pretty good at this low ownership. A little bit easier to get there on FanDuel or on DraftKings. I'm sorry, 8,600 on FanDuel's tough. I'm still getting there. Mixing in Jared Allen, mixing in Donovan. What's Darius's price? That's why I'm not getting any on DraftKings. 7,700 Darius. I mean, 7K for Darius Garland on FanDuel at only 11%. You think it's worth more than 11%, right?
Oh, for sure. I think he was 6,700 and like 40% last slate. So definitely.
Yeah, and he ended up smashing, and I mean, it's another smash spot. The Nets don't have Dennis Schroeder anymore.
Yeah, I think it's a really good play.
Karis LeVert, I'm getting a couple percent of, but any interest in anyone else on this team? Maybe Sam Merrill?
Maybe, yeah. These like bench guards are always tough for me to navigate. I think if one of the starters are out here, I would say LeVert for sure, but it's tough, man.
Yeah, LeVert's just a few percent play for me, but I don't mind having him in there. And then with Brooklyn, so they traded Dennis Schroeder. They got back D'Anthony Melton, who's out for the season. Are we going to see Ben Simmons and Nick Claxton be in the starting lineup?
Potentially, yes. That would be crazy.
Yeah, it's just kind of a tough one. Nick, are you in the chat, dude? What do we do with your Nets?
Yeah, where's Nick at, man? We need him.
I want to see what that starting lineup looks like, but regardless, I'm pretty sure I'd still be interested in Cam Johnson, be interested in Dorian Finney-Smith. Like, he had infinite stocks last game to get there, but 4,700 on FanDuel still seems okay. And Ben Simmons, if no one's going to play Ben Simmons, if he starts, I'm going to be pretty interested in him. I think these prices are probably okay, right?
Yeah. 5,500, 5,800. Yeah, totally fine with that.
I don't know that we'll see his minutes go up, but I mean, 26, it's enough to get there at this 5,500 price. And then Shake Milton, I wonder, I wish his price was a little bit lower. I wanted to see if like people would forget about him today, but he was pretty great backing him up, and now should play a bigger role. We haven't projected for 26 minutes. Is this price a little bit too high to get to him, or do you have interest?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I think 4,700 is pretty steep price point for him. If he was like sub 4K, I would have a lot more interest, I think, here.
Yeah, I've been trying to get this to load, but it won't load. Oh, there we go. So with Cam Thomas and Dennis Schroeder off the court, Jalen Wilson gets the biggest bump. We need to take Zaire Williams off the court too. So with Cam Thomas, Dennis Schroeder, and Zaire Williams off the court, Tyrese Martin actually gets the biggest usage bump, plus 7%, Jalen Wilson plus 6%, Shake Milton plus 4%. It only brings Shake Milton up to league average, but he does have the most minutes played with those three off the court. So the 26-minute projection is probably good. Jalen Wilson up to 22%, Keon Johnson up to 22%. It's like all these guys just have such low usage. Even Tyrese Martin, who gets the biggest bump, is only at 24. I'm trying to find Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson, league average, 20.5%. So I feel like I want to be over the field on this team, but I really just don't know who until I see that starting lineup.
Yeah, pretty much the same there. Dude, when you refresh the model, you're going to see lots of Chicago.
Yeah, I'm sure it's still crunching because like Lonzo Ball is not the best value play today.
I was just about to mention that.
23 minutes. I don't know if Lonzo plays 23 minutes. So wait another few minutes if you guys are refreshing the model on your own, because Kobe White 37 minutes, maybe.
It's going to play a lot for sure.
Oh, Nick's here. Thanks, Nick. Simmons should start. Ben, Keon, Cam Johnson, DFS, Claxton. Ben, CJ, fine, but some risk. I actually like Shake Milton coming off the bench. Jalen Wilson, boom or bust. He's an underrated passer. Yeah, your endorsement of Shake Milton makes me feel pretty good. I think I'm going to bump him and kind of force him in a little bit. He's projected for such low ownership. You don't have to play that much to get over the field. Anything with what Nick just said here?
Yeah, I think Shake, I do agree. I think Shake probably it's the biggest beneficiary. It's just when comparing him to like the other value, I think I'm probably just going to get the other value guys.
Yeah, the other guys are definitely the priorities, but I do kind of want to take some GPP shots on that. Thanks for typing that out, Nick. Appreciate you.
Shout out, Nick.
Yeah, shout out, Nick, man. So we'll take another couple minutes before we get back to Chicago. We have about 15 minutes left in the show. You guys have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. Jayhawk, you're doing the Discord Q&A today, right?
Yes, sir. I got to scramble and get the sheet ready for Discord, but yeah, I'll be in Discord.
All right, nice. We'll try to get you out of here on time today then.
You're good.
So top of the model play today, Nikola Jokic. Someone asked, what are we doing? Are we playing him? We jamming him? Fading him?
Man, this is such a tough spot here because he's going to be low owned. Everyone's going to be burned by him last slate. He's in a great spot, I think, here, man. Sabonis, not a defender I'm really scared of. So I love getting him once again. 13%. I think we have a decent chunk of value now. We could probably get up to him. So like him a lot in tournaments at 13%.
Yeah, big fan of Jokic tonight. I think it's probably good to just get over the field on him every night when he's not chalk. Even when he is chalk, probably just lock him. I like him. What about the rest of the team? Are you looking at anyone else here?
Yeah, I think the only other guy I was kind of looking at here was Aaron Gordon. I think at his price, he's probably a little bit too cheap, I think. So 5,500, I think AG firmly in play in the mid tier. And then not getting any Christian Brown here. and probably not much Michael Porter. So probably just Jokic and Gordon for me.
We have Aaron Gordon projected for 30.5 minutes. He's my highest exposed player from the Nuggets right now, and I actually had to turn him down because I thought I was getting a little bit too much. But 5,500 on DK, 23, 23, 34, 33. These were blowouts, so he lost his rotation. But, I mean, he's been playing, so I know he was hurt, but he should be good to go now. So I actually gave him 32 minutes, and I had to reduce it down to 30. I had to even put less than what we had projected because I felt like I was getting too much. But I mean, if it's giving you all the Aaron Gordon, it's probably a sign that he's a good play today.
Yeah, I think he should be at least 6K when he's full go. So I think he's a little bit too cheap.
And like the model's not saying he's an outstanding value. It actually has Christian Brown as a slightly better points per dollar play over on DraftKings, $100 less at a third of the ownership. So that's a good pivot consideration. But I like Aaron Gordon tonight. I think he's fine. And model isn't saying he's bad. Michael Porter Jr. GPP play at 11% now that he's under 7K on DraftKings. I kind of like that. And I still like getting over the 8% over on FanDuel. Anything else here from Denver? I mean, Jamal Murray 7,300 on DraftKings at 6% ownership.
Yeah, he does seem a little bit too cheap for sure. I think he's fine to mix in tournaments at like sub 5%. So especially if you're not getting to Gordon or Jokic, I don't hate mixing them.
Why is he only 6% owned? He's probable.
He's a great. I mean, it's a great matchup too against Sacramento. So
yeah, and I don't like Jamal Murray in general as a fantasy player, but I'm pretty interested at 7,300 at that ownership.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
I mean, he played 32 minutes in a game they lost by, or they won or lost. Either way, they're involved in a blowout. He still played 32 minutes, had 42 the game before, 34, 38, 36 minutes. I think we want to be over the field on Jamal Murray just from like a game theory point of view, regardless of what you think about him.
Yeah, and I think they blew out the Clippers last time out. So
okay, yeah, that James Harden put up like 7.
I think so. Yeah.
Sacramento, Keegan Murray, did he pop up late on the questionable report or on the injury report?
Let's take a look here. Yes, about 3:30 Eastern today he popped up. So yeah.
Okay. Kevin Werder's already ruled out. I generally lean towards late Q tags. They're not going to play. And so if Keegan Murray's out, he doesn't take up that much usage, but it would be a slight bump to, I mean, pretty much everyone in the starting lineup, right? A couple more rebounding opportunities for everyone else, maybe a shot attempt or two. But with Malik Monk being in there, it's kind of tanked everyone's fantasy value. I said that the other day, and Demantis put up like 70. But what do you want to do with the Kings? Let's say Keegan Murray's out.
Yeah, so starting out with Monk here, you mentioned him. I really like Monk here, especially with no Herder as well. If Murray sits, I think Monk should look really, really good. And then I don't hate mixing in DeMar DeRozan. I know he's only 6% owned, but if we get Keegan out, I feel like both Monk and DeRozan would look a lot better. So like mixing a DeRozan, like Monk a ton. It's kind of my lean. What do you think about these guys?
Yeah, I actually already have a ton of Malik Monk. I'm over the field on this 24 and 36%. I have a lot of De'Aaron Fox. I'm over the field on him too. Keon Ellis, I think I need to adjust that. I'll find some better value. Were you getting Keon Ellis in your runs?
I was not, no. Just mostly the mid-tier guys here.
Yeah, I think I need to adjust that. But I mean, if Keegan Murray's out, Kevin Werder's already out. We do have Keon Ellis projected for 22 minutes, and so I'm getting a lot. I have 20% Keon Ellis right now, so I'd like to reduce that. It's not going to be to 0 though. It's telling me he's a good play. I should probably mix him in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to get there though, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, well, over on FanDuel, I'm actually getting a lot more of the top end guys than I am over on DraftKings too. So Sacramento, Denver could be kind of a sneaky game stack. It's kind of expensive though if you're getting to Jokic.
Yeah, definitely a great game. Should be under owned too, for the most part.
Going by just straight up OF index, Demantis pretty close to the top of the model again. Number 3 overall. De'Aaron Fox looks really good. And then where was DeMar? DeMar DeRozan, double-digit OF index, 8K, 7,700. I think we've been kind of down on DeMar, but he's been getting there, 6% on DK. Probably worth some shots. A little chalkier on FanDuel at 7,700, but I kind of get it because he fits.
Yeah, I like DeMar a lot in terms.
Last game, Utah and Clippers.
Walker Kessler time.
Yeah, Walker Kessler time. So we mentioned like some center pivots to Pirtle. I think Walker Kessler is the very obvious one. He's $100 cheaper on FanDuel at what 1/20th of the ownership, and he's 6,600 on DraftKings. This is the wrong price, and he's only getting 6% ownership. Just play more Walker Kessler. I know they're playing the Clippers. It's not a team we like to target fantasy production against, but he's got to be better than 6% and 2% owned today, even with the low total.
For sure, definitely center. I want to be overweight, for sure.
And then some questions about let's wait for the Clippers before we talk about James Harden. But John Collins has emerged as Utah's best player. Like Laurie is so hot and cold lately, but the model is saying John Collins is like pretty far ahead of everyone else on this team. Good DK value, good FD value. His price might be a little bit of a sticker shock, but I kind of still like getting over the field on both of these.
Yeah, I don't hate those calls. John Collins, obviously, good producer, and then Markkanen's fun as well. So yeah, totally fine with either one of those guys. Tournaments.
I am mixing in some Markkanen too. Are you? He's a 6,900 and 7K at like single digit ownership. Again, even though it's the Clippers, he's got to be worth more than this.
Yeah, 6,900, especially on DraftKings, seems a little bit too cheap. So for sure.
And like none of these are guys that I'm playing a ton of. It's not hard to get over the field on these numbers, so it's really easy, I think, just to get a little percent of these guys. Did you have a lean on if Clarkson's probable, so he probably plays? Are you doing anything with George, Sexton, and Clarkson?
It's so tough, man. The guards, I think George is probably my favorite, but it's very tough for me to kind of prioritize any of them, especially not Sexton. I haven't played him all year.
Yeah, it's like the model is telling us we can just completely not think about these guys today. Maybe Keontae George we can consider a little bit. He looks like the only one I'm getting a couple percent of, but yeah, just not much to have interest in here today, I think, at this price range.
Yeah, no, I love that call.
I mean, Sexton is cheap, but model is still not telling us he's a good points per dollar play. Last game, the Clippers. How much do you like James Harden, though?
Love him here. I just think 9,400. Utah's not a good team defensively. I do prefer him slightly to Cade, so I think up top, I do like Harden a lot. How do you feel about Harden here?
I guess I like him. I'm over the field on both sides. So 9,200. I don't know why his price. I feel like he should be a little more expensive, but projected for 34 minutes. He had a rough time out last time. It's a bad total, but I mean, he's on the Clippers. And so if there's a time that we want to target James Harden, this is a really good team to do it against.
Yeah, for sure. And I wanted to ask you real quick because Kevin Porter is chalk. I typically like to set a rule not to play both in the same lineup, but how do you feel about Kevin Porter here as chalk?
On FanDuel, I'm with the field. Over on DraftKings, though, I have a lot. I'm okay playing them together. I don't set rule. I just think it's too restrictive. If you're making a set of 150 lineups and you set a rule like max one of James Harden and Kevin Porter, it's like I would want that for most of my lineups, but I want to allow it in at least a few percent. Because, if the optimizer you're using is giving you those combos, it's probably good. And yeah, the optimizer might not know that they're possibly slightly negatively correlated, but if the price fits, I mean, they're like James Harden's a stud and Kevin Porter's cheap. So I think it's fine to play them together.
Yeah, I mean, I get that for sure. I definitely think both of them as plays overall, both great plays. So.
Yeah, I do like getting to both of them individually. The next play up for me on this team is actually going to be Norman Powell, who the model's identifying as a really strong value, 10.20 OF index, 6,500 on both sides. He is pulling the ownership, but it still might not be enough. Pretty interested in Norman Powell tonight.
Yeah, Norman Powell, great play again. I think, just a great spot here for shooters. So love Powell in the mid-tier.
And it's like, yeah, we are relying on him to score points, but he's really, really good at doing that this year. He's one of the most efficient players in the NBA.
Yeah, for sure. I like him a ton. I think, I don't know. I'm definitely fine running Powell and another guy from the Clippers together too, for sure. So.
And then Zubac, I'm just slightly over the field, just as a pivot off of Pirtle.
Yeah, I wasn't getting much Zubac just because I think now with the Zach LaVine news too, we have a bunch of good center plays.
Yeah, let's go ahead and refresh. We have about 5 minutes to get you out of here, Jayhawk. Let's take a look at Chicago. So it looks like the minutes have normalized. Sorting by OF index, Vucevic stands out as the top play here, but Kobe White and Josh Giddey both have double-digit OF indexes at in the 6K range. I would assume move very close. I don't know if these ownerships are enough. Like for Vooch, I know this is not enough. 6 and 9%. We want to be over the field on this. But 35 and 30% Kobe White, Josh Giddey. What do you think about those numbers?
I think they both look amazing, dude. I think you can play them together too.
Yeah.
Just really good plays. But now Zach LaVine and 247 over under. Like, how can you go wrong?
Yeah, and so I love mixing in those three guys. I don't think I can rerun before the stream ends, but Jayhawk will tell you more in the Q&A in a few minutes. And so, like, I think we agree. We like these top four guys. The model loves them. Model's giving us the go-ahead. Model's still identifying Lonzo as the best points per dollar play on this team at 20 minutes, 4K on DraftKings. I think we can fire Lonzo up. And then Modest Buzelis also showing up as a good points per dollar play on DraftKings, 3,800, 15% ownership. That's probably appropriate. Someone mentioned Patrick Williams, but I mean, at 2%, if he starts, then yeah, we can get over the 2%. If he doesn't, we can probably still get over the 2%. It's going to feel a lot more gross.
Yeah. How many Chicago, Toronto guys we want in the dummy now? We got to think about that.
Well, who's the first player in? Kobe White?
Yeah, definitely Kobe White. Shooting guard's eligible too.
So. All right, let's do Kobe White, and then I think we'll start with Pirtle at center and see if maybe we get to Vooch on the other side.
Yeah, love Pirtle.
Yeah, Pirtle. I'm going to just sort the model by... So just like to give you guys a summary of everything, here's the model sorted by OF index. Top plays overall. Vooch is number 3. Like, that's pretty great. All these guys are strong plays. Jakob Pirtle's pretty good too. 7,300 ranked this high. Sorting by DK value, we got Lonzo, Gershon Yabusele, Mobo, Kobe White, Norm Powell, Mark Williams, KPJ, Josh Giddey. So a lot of guys we've mentioned. A couple guys like Nicholas Batum, who are the pivots. And then FanDuel value for you FanDuel fellas. So there you go. So I'll sort by DK percentage. Did you have another player you wanted to plug in next?
I think for me, probably either Mogbo or Barrett. I think two of the better plays on the slate.
I think we plug in both.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, because I really like Barrett today, and then I'm still getting Mobo. Maybe I'll get less, but I'm getting Mobo as like one of my top value plays right now.
Yeah, not like that.
Next guy's up, Norman Powell, 5th highest projected ownership. Crazy. Did we want to slide in another bull?
Yeah, we can. I love Vooch as like a double center, or we can get in Giddey. I think probably one of those two.
I'm gonna start with Giddey just because I don't want to force us into that double center, and then we can play around with it and try and get out of it.
I like that.
That leaves us with 5,400 for each spot, so we probably need a value play. Can we? I don't know if I can stomach putting Lonzo in the dummy, but he's a top play on the model.
It's tough. You know you're playing 3 guards then, so.
I'd rather get to KPJ or Norman Powell.
Yeah, let's do that. I was going to say probably Clipper here.
Let's do Norman Powell.
Love it.
Norman Powell, which leaves us 4,850. I'm going to plug in Drew Smith at 3,800. Model's telling us he's fine as value, even though he's chalk. Maybe his ownership even goes down with the news we got. And then I don't mind filling out the lineup if it's a large field with like Grady Dick. I think Kelly Oubre is still fine. Other than that, maybe upgrade a position or downgrade a position and, pay up a little bit. Let's see how we can get Vooch in here, though, if we want to try that double center lineup, and then we'll let you go.
You're good. Yeah.
We'd have to come down on someone, maybe get rid of Giddey. 4K, yeah. Lonzo Ball, boom.
Bang. 4 Bulls. Or no, sorry, 3 Bulls.
3 Bulls. Yeah, 3 Bulls, 3 Toronto. I don't think it's bad. It's the highest total, and so... you got to get the pieces from that game right, then you got to get the pieces from the other game right, but This is probably not a bad... these are some of my higher exposed guys, not Lonzo, but everyone else's.
Yeah, for sure. Love that build.
And KJ Martin's starting at the 4, so Jayhawk will tell you what the model thinks of him in a few minutes.
Yes, sir.
Counsel over KJ Martin. For GPPs, I agree. Drummond and Yabu don't get the minutes. You'd rather play Mobo. I agree. Ricky will get more minutes. Yeah, Ricky could be the spot because if he has a good game tonight and plays the minutes, he's going to be chalk on the next slate. So if we can be a game early, I think that's pretty good too.
Yep, agreed.
All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Jayhawk's going to be in the Discord. Instructions to join that are in the description below. We really appreciate you watching us today, and we'll see you actually on on Thursday. We'll be hanging out in the Discord tomorrow. I don't think we have any plans to make content for the one game, but we'll be hanging out in Discord. So if you have any questions, go ahead and pop in there. We'll see you. Thanks.